Basic of cinematography. As the role that the cinematographer takes on is a fairly technical and complex one, it's a bit tricky to distill all the nuanced things that they do into a single YouTube video. However, I think the most important duties of a director of photography or DP can best be distilled into three basic elements: exposure, lighting and camera positioning, and movement. These three elements align with the three departments on a film set which the DP manages: the camera, lighting and grip departments. To be a cinematographer, you need to be able to control all three of these elements and manipulate them in order to capture a visual style which suits the story being told. So let's focus on each one of these departments, or aspects of cinematography, to show why they are crucial in order to fulfill the DP's overarching function of building and capturing the look of a film. Let's start with a fairly necessary feature of cinematography, the camera. To capture an image, light passes through a glass lens and hits the film plane, which could house a digital sensor or a film stock. How the footage will look is determined by the amount of light that hits the focal plane and the sensitivity of how easily the digital sensor or the film stock absorbs that light. This is what we call exposure. It refers to the amount of light that is exposed to the film plane. Letting in more light will result in a brighter exposure, while letting in less light will mean a darker exposure. One of the most important parts of a cinematographer's job is measuring and ensuring the correct exposure is achieved. Exposure is an important tool that DPs can easily use to create an image that reflects the correct tone and story. A simple example can be found in comedies versus horror films. Typically, comedies have a brightly exposed image which reflects the light, comedic tone of the story, while horror films often have a darker exposure which sets a broodier, scarier psychological tone. To control exposure with the camera, the cinematographer can adjust three different variables: the shutter, the aperture, and the ISO or film speed. Motion picture cameras usually use a rotary disc shutter. This is a semicircular disc that spins in front of the film gate. When the disc passes the film gate, light will be blocked and not let in. As it turns, there will be an open section where light will be able to hit the film plane. Since the shutter takes up a percentage of a circle in film cameras, it is measured in degrees, which is referred to as the shutter angle. Adjusting the shutter angle affects the amount of time that film is exposed to light. Aperture is the hole in the lens that can be opened or closed to let in more or less light. On cinema lenses, this value is measured as a T-stop and as an f-stop on still photography lenses. Opening the aperture, shooting with a smaller stop number, means that the hole is large and more light is let in. Closing down the aperture, shooting at a deep stop, makes the hole smaller and lets in less light. Finally, the ISO or film speed refers to how sensitively the digital sensor or film stock responds to light. A low film speed such as 50 ISO is less sensitive, so will be darker, and a high film speed such as 800 ISO will be brighter. So to expose an image which is not too bright and not too dark, cinematographers will manipulate this exposure triangle of shutter angle, aperture and film speed until the footage has the correctly exposed look. If you want to watch more videos like this, don't forget like, share, comment and subscribe to our channel SIFF.